Hey everyone, welcome back. In this quick tutorial, I want to show you guys how I did intro to my operations and operations on my railroad. This video will probably be split up into two different halves. First will be setting up, and then the second half will actually be running the operations. The first screen you can see here is my Excel sheet that I actually found online, and I edited a little bit to what I wanted. And it is just simply my car cards that I have. And the very basic ones, same thing that you'll find online. You have your reporting number in the top left corner, followed by your reporting number, the simple color of the car, the AAR designation, T for tank, LO for covered hopper, and then roughly the length. These aren't perfect, but it's close enough for me. And then and a descriptor underneath. Here, obviously, hydrochloric acid is in the GATX tank, and we have 4 bay covered hoppers. So I'm hoping maybe to be able to post this to my video so you guys can take a look at it to use how you want. But the way I do this is I have over here in the data section, I am able to put the reporting marks, car number, type, description, color, length, and other notes that I have. If you take a look, two of them are lined in yellow. I found small errors in those, and so I have to reprint those. But one of the cool things is that I keep each number ID independent, so if I did have to redo one, I know what it is. So here's some of the cars that I use for my operations on my railroad. And then the last screen here is my AAR designations. I found a bunch of different ones online. You can sort of decide what you want. I do more of the modern era. So it's not exactly perfect per se, but XM for boxcar is good enough for me, and LO is a hopper, and then we have T for tanks. I'm not that specific into exactly what type of car it is and everything. So you can see some of the stuff there. And then if I go into my second slide, I will actually get my waybills. So these waybills are currently vertical instead of being landscape, so you can actually read them. But when we get to the layout, you'll see what the waybills actually look like. And so I have different colors. So the orange corresponds to Barberton, Ohio, and that is going to be where the railroad is. And then blue is the staging. And so I know when to take them off and collect them from the local industries and bring them back to the yard to stage. And then in the second tab, we have the data, which is a bunch of different waybills. I actually have real companies I found through a little bit of Google search, how I did that. And then I was able to put the real industries and their location on there. And here there's way more than I need, but this is from someone else online before I did. So this a few examples. And then I don't use the block codes or the waybill pulls at all. So if we take a few moments here, I'll get back to the layout room and I'll show you how we do it.
All right, back here on the layout now, you can see what the card cards and the waybills sort of take a look like. On the one side here, we have the bill that is going to Barberton, Ohio, which means that a staging train has dropped the car off into the yard and to be sorted and then off to be able to go to the industry. While here on the right-hand side, the blue card, which says stage, means that it needs to be pulled from the industry and taken back to the yard where then I'll restage it into my extra cases underneath. And now one of the cool things is, since I do CSX and ABC Railway, is that on the real life prototype, there's two different routes. The car can either take the ABC Railroad interchange, where it will go to Wheeling and Lake Erie in Britton Yard, which is just north of Akron. Or here on the right-hand side, it could go to CSX, which would go to Warwick Yard on the Newcastle sub, and be broken off there into its correct train. So as you can see here, these are just two different examples that I use. I just used a one style. So pretty much to start it off, I use it, and then when I'm ready to pull the card, I can flip it around right there. And so this is an old operations I just did. So all the blue cards should be shown here as staged, because these will be taken off the layout to be able to put new cards on. And you can see here in very rough handwriting, track 1 here corresponds to the CSX, and then track 2 is the Wheeling Lake Erie, and that's also where our routing would be, and the cars correspond over there. And then here, this is the cars that were dropped off before. As I said, all the orange should be showing. The ones that I did want to pull, the ones that are facing the opposite way, is they needed to stay and be held for the next session. So you can see everything here has been dropped off. So then we have to go back to my car cards here and figure out what type of cars and cards that we want to use for this next set of operations. So after I remove the cars off the layout, I have to choose which other cars I want to put on. So I just sort of choose a random assortment of cars that look like they need to go into the industries. I have a pretty heavy load on all the industries right now, so I probably will not be putting on too many. I'll probably be pulling more off of the railroad, if anything, just due to the fact that there is not enough space and I need to get my numbers back. Perfect. So do those three, and then let's do one more. So let's have 3 cars here for this operation of dropping off, but then picking up, I'll have a bunch more. So here at each individual industry, I have to decide which cars that I want to pull. From the previous session, WFRX did come into the industry, and so I actually might keep this one. So I'll just simply flip this back into the hold position, and then it will stay and it will not be picked up. Now, however, this one, which got dropped off and was held last time, needs to be flipped around for the blue stage is showing, and that indicates that I need to pick that car up during the operating session. So when this industry is done, I can move on to the other 3 industries over here, and everything right now is all orange because that's from the previous session. So I'm gonna work on figuring out what cars I'm gonna pick up, and I'll come back to you guys. Maybe 2.5 minutes, I was able to figure out all the cards that I want to pull during a session. So we're gonna pull the DC or DBCX hopper and a TILX hopper and then a UTLX hopper, followed by the lumber mill. We have to pull the BN boxcar, and then at Continental Carbon, I'll be pulling WITX and CCX. So then the last step in the process is to figure out where the cars that are in the yard are going to go to make sure that I have appropriate numbers. And considering the fact that I have 1 covered hopper and 2 tank cars, I'll be taking one of the covered hoppers over to PC Sales and Services, and along with one of the tanks, and then the other tank car will be dropped off at PPG. So to do that, I simply go down to my bin of all my car cards and waybills. I'm looking for my covered hopper, which is ETCX. That is the perfect. That is the car that I have. So that is 58105. Perfect. So with that, I know where these cars are going to go. I now need to put the waybills in them. I have already separated here on each side where each one will go. So right here we have the covered hoppers that go to Barberton on PC Sales and Services. These are all the same, so I can just randomly pick one of them. It doesn't matter where it starts off as. I'll probably choose this one right here. Then we'll go to my ETCX, and my BRCX is also a tank car going to PC Sales and Services, which is on the left side. So I have a bunch of different ones. You can see they all have different bills of ladings and where it goes. So grab one of those. And the last one is PPG, which is tank cars corresponding to right here. Grab one of those. And just like that. And with that, I'll put those cars in here. I'll drop them off on the tracks that they go on, and we can start the operations. And with that, in about less than 10 minutes, I have all my operations ready for the next operating session. As you can see, I have my 3 car cars that I'm going to use for dropping off 2 loads. They're going to be staged here in Barberton Yard. And then we take a look over here. We go into PPG Industries first. We'll end up picking up the chlorine tank car that's empty and dropping off with the other one. And then dropping off the 2 other cars we have over here, followed by picking up a bunch of cards from PC Sales and Services, the green BN, and then 2 of the Continental Carbons. So if you join me next time, I'll show you how I do the operations.